What is going on, everybody? I'm Jordan McKelly. That's your other host, Sam Summers. We do not have Mitchell Balla out here today. He is broadcasting a baseball game up there in Jackson, Ohio. But me and Sam are here to hold down the fort. Sam, we got a lot to get into today, and we're mixing it up to
quite the agenda.
Say that again, Sam.
I said quite the agenda today.
It is quite the agenda. And we're mixing things up a little. Usually we do top 4 for 4 at 4, Sam, but not today. Sam, what are we doing today?
We're doing a little bit of a fantasy draft at 4.
Oh, a most hated men draft, which was a
most hated men.
Fantastic idea that you brought up yesterday. With the draft coming up in 2 weeks, guys, why not have the most hated men draft? Sam, I'm actually going to give you the first pick. I didn't get all of our board up on there. That is about 2/5 of our board for most hated men. I'm going to allow you to take the first pick. Who you got?
Sure. Are we going with we're doing 5 picks?
We're doing 5 picks. We're just picking a top 10.
Whew.
I know. It's tough.
I'm gonna have to go my number 1 pick. Not on the board, but he's on my list. I guess a world renowned. A lot of people could agree. Satan sucks. There's not many people out there that like Satan. I guess he has some worshipers, but don't we all? So
that's true. Do you? How many worshipers do you have, Sam?
Not many. Not many.
Not many?
Probably less than Satan, yeah.
All right. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm with the first pick of the draft for the Jordan McKellians, I'm going to go with Bill Cosby. Anybody who has anything to do with basically messing somebody up psychologically by doing such a heinous act is somebody that I can never look past that. Even with all the pudding pops, and he has a great show. Had a great show. I guess it still is great. I have to go with Bill Cosby at number 1 because I think he's I don't know how much lower you can go than that.
That's your facilitator. Your can't hate that pick. Let's see here. I think I'm gonna go for a little bit of a reach here.
Where are you reaching?
With my second pick, I'm going Scrappy Doo.
Scrappy Doo. Wow, that's a big pick. Scrappy Doo.
I didn't know that so many people hated him. I found out today from a few Google searches that Scrappy Doo sucks, and you know what? It's that reach in the dark. You'll find that diamond in the rough, and I think that's what we're getting with Scrappy Doo.
I think that's a really solid pick. I can't hate on it because I don't know if you're going to like my next pick or not. So I'd hate for you to hate on mine. So I'm going to refrain from coming after you on your second pick. I'm going to go with, oh man, do I do it to him? I'm going to take somebody that I know that you want. This is competitive. I want Scott Studer. Give me Scott Studer. Scott Studer is not that different from Bill Cosby. He's a creep, terrible person. And a person who decided to, what's the best definition of what he did, Sam?
I guess he's a child pornography peddler. So
yeah, I
guess that would be.
Yeah, anything.
You got someone. Now you have somebody in front and behind the.
Yeah, we can't have that.
Mm-mm.
Think you're on the clock, Sam?
Let's see. Satan, Scrappy Doo. You got 2 S's.
Mm-hmm. This is tough. Hey, but guys, put in the comments who you would go 1 through 5. And it doesn't have to be anybody on this list either.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go with I'm going with Bin Laden with my third pick.
Wow, that's a big pick.
That's a steal.
Yeah, I mean, you have a pretty good front court in Bin Laden and Satan. Not a bad backcourt with Scrappy Doo so far.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Scrappy team.
Yeah, I've clearly went with Bill Cosby at 1, 2 with Scott Studer, and I think I am going to go ahead and put in Ben Roethlisberger at number 3.
Oh, man. Sheesh.
Once
There's
again,
a theme. There's a theme to your team.
yeah, anybody that wants to, yeah, I know. We have a whole bunch of creeps on my team. But I mean, we are picking most hated men, and I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win this draft. So,
Sheesh.
I love how serious you're taking this. Let me just say that you're taking this incredibly serious, and I love it. I love the energy.
I love any sort of draft. You mentioned the drafts in a couple of weeks, but as we know, the draft is tonight. The WNBA draft is in fact tonight, and maybe we'll touch on that a little bit later. Jordan, you're kind of letting me go away with this. I've got Satan at 1, Osama bin Laden at 3, and now I'm going to go Adolf Hitler at 4.
That's a big.
Quite possibly the world's worst group of all time.
Yeah, I mean you have a really good group. I'm not going to say it's Tampa Bay Buccaneers good, but it's definitely playoff good. Definitely playoff good. Anthony Bennett at number 4 for me.
Oh.
Anthony Bennett, you are. Oh man, I don't want to do that to his family. I can't say that on the air. Anthony Bennett, you made me watch some of the worst basketball I've ever watched, and I've been at the CYO, the YMCA, seen a lot of basketball. Sam, Anthony Bennett showed me some of the worst.
Yeah,
this is your last pick.
I'll never forget Anthony Bennett's the Pelicans, and Mitch and I were in his basement, just absolutely belated. Couldn't believe Anthony Bennett was true. He was a superstar, and that was the last time he ever dropped double digits. I got to go with the big man here. I'm lacking a big man.
You are lacking a big man.
Since I'm lacking a big man, and this is somebody who would actually fit really well with your team, so I'll steal him. Jared Fogle. That's Jared from Subway. For those of you who don't know.
Oh.
Jared Fogle used to be very, very heavy, and he lost a bunch of weight with Subway. And then because he lost all that weight, he started touching little boys. So
he started punching little boys?
No, touching inappropriately. So,
why would you? Jared, I feel like he should be on my team.
Well, that's what I said. I'm stealing him.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah, I'm definitely bringing this home with she's not a man, but I saw that one of you guys put her on your list, and she's a wild card as far as I'm concerned. This is Euchre card. I'm gonna go with Casey Anthony, and I'm gonna lock that in.
Make the beat and murder it, Casey Anthony.
How many songs is she actually in?
Probably quite a few. I believe she was found innocent. She's out walking free. So I wonder if she gets any. I wonder if she gets a little bit of money for those references.
Oh wow!
Something to think about.
That is something to think about. Wow, on a McDonald's Coke, I hope.
Oh yeah, Diet Coke.
Diet Coke.
I'm not a big Coke fan. Yeah.
Well done.
I like to. Yeah.
Well, that's our.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good draft. Now to get into some sports. Let's get into some sports. Let's cover some balls.
Sure.
Sam, on Tuesday, me and Mitch were talking about Jadeveon Clowney and if he would be a Cleveland Brown. Well, Jadeveon Clowney is now a Cleveland Brown. I believe he's getting $8 million, up to $10 million total, but 8 is pretty much the last $2 million is in incentives. Do you believe that this makes the Browns a Super Bowl contender, or do you think they're around the same place they were before that?
Oh, I mean, even without Jadeveon Clowney, we were way ahead of where we were last year. I don't know. I mean, it kind of reminds me of that dream team, Eagles team where they signed Nnamdi Asomugha, and they had all these guys, and they're like, this is winning the Super Bowl, and they stunk. They like went 6-10, 7-9. They were awful. But
Yep.
Myles Garrett, Sheldon Richardson, Jadeveon Clowney now. I mean, we're a serious football team. I'd hate to get too ahead of myself, but I think Super Bowl, here we come.
Definitely the most intimidating two guys they have on the defensive line have to be Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney with their shirts off. Like, I imagine that if we were still in caveman days, those two would be the guys that would be, pillaging through our village, taking our families from us as men, because I am a lesser man than both of them, and so is 99.9% of the population. But we're not in caveman days. We're playing football. He definitely makes us better. I don't think it's a better acquisition than, was it Johnson? I think our secondary got incredibly better. And we have pieces in parts of our secondary that were injured last year coming back. Hopefully Greedy Williams can play. I don't know if he will be able to. He's kind of in Markelle Fultz land still. I don't know if he'll ever be 100%. But Grant Delpit, in my opinion, is better than Greedy Williams. He is coming back. And so that, I think Jadeveon Clowney makes us better, Sam. How much better? I'm not sure, because like you said, I think we upgraded in a lot of places already. We got Takk McKinley. I think that helped a lot. And we could just be better if we're just healthy. I mean, one of our best defensive players last year, like every year, was hurt the whole year, and that's Denzel Ward. So if we could just have most of our team play, that'd be good too. Definitely makes us better. I don't know how much. I'm not a huge Jadeveon Clowney fan, and I think we paid a little too much for him. But I mean, when we're talking about a Super Bowl, winning or losing one, if you have to pay a little extra, I guess it's worth it, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, J.J. Watt went for $15 million, so we got Jadeveon Clowney, who I guess you couldn't say he's equal to J.J. Watt, but at this point in their career, like, who knows? So for $10 million, I mean, that's chump change in the NFL. Grant Delpit won the Jim Thorpe Award in college. I'm very excited for him. I think he's going to be a fantastic hybrid with this. We get 3 safety system that Woods loves to run. I'm a huge fan of Troy Hill. I think he's going to be a fantastic slot cornerback. So the question is, can we beat the Kansas City Chiefs? We could definitely beat the early stop the run. I really don't see how the Browns don't make the AFC Championship if they play like they did last year. Baker Mayfield, 2 seasons now with Kevin Stefanski. We're going to see Baker improve. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, DPJ, another year under his belt. He was starting to look like a very, very serviceable receiver. I'm very excited for and we have the draft. We're not even done yet. So now that you have Takk McKinley, Myles Garrett, Sheldon Richardson, and Jadeveon Clowney on the same line, you can't focus all of them. And Myles was always focused. Jadeveon has always been double teamed. And then Takk McKinley, he has a lot of upside. But, I mean, I don't know. This team could be a 16-0 team. They're that talented on paper.
And they do have remember, we had the best division in football last year. So we also have the hardest schedule in football. The hardest schedule goes to, I believe, the Steelers. The second hardest schedule in the NFL goes to the Ravens. And then here comes the Browns, the third hardest schedule, because we had the third best record in our division last year, which is hilarious to think, right? Lord have mercy. Do you think the division is going to be slightly worse than last year? You think the Browns can run through this division? Because you said 16-0. Yeah. So with that in mind, they'd have to run through the division, right?
Well, I think that they have the talent to where they could be a 16-0 team. As you know, we're still very young. Kevin Stefanski will be in his second year. I mean, Baker's only in his this will be his fourth year.
Fourth year, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so who knows? I don't think the Steelers are going to be very good. I don't think the Ravens are going to be as good as they have been. I think Lamar Jackson's kind of starting to be figured out in a sense. If you can contain them, you're going to stop them. But the Browns can't contain them yet, so we'll see about that. But the Browns should win their division, and they should at least make it to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. It's going to be real wild. It's kind of crazy how football is the furthest sport away out of all three of the biggest sports, and that's the one I want to watch the most by far right now. So we'll see how this unfolds. We had a comment out there that said, I'm very excited to see Baker's progress. I mean, we haven't seen Baker return basically with the same offensive coordinator and the same head coach. And Van Pelt's back and Kevin Stefanski's back. And so we'll see how far Baker can progress this year. But honest to God, I think half of his progression is going to have to deal with Kevin Stefanski. Can Kevin Stefanski finally figure out how to put a number one wide receiver into his offense? He's never figured it out. And I don't get it because no one ever talks about this at all, which is why I wanted OBJ gone. Not because I dislike OBJ, because complete opposite. I love OBJ. I want him to flourish somewhere else if we're not going to use him right? The question is, can we use OBJ right this year? Stephon Diggs won it out of Minnesota with Kirk Cousins when Stefanski was their offensive coordinator. They ran the ball a ton. Can we put a number one into our offense? Part of that's Kevin, and the other part is Baker not forcing the ball and going through his progressions. So that's what I'm most excited. I think the success of the Browns season is going to be based off of that. I think our acquisitions and everywhere else on the field, but we're going to go as far as Kevin Stefanski and Baker can take us. So as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
So excited for some Browns football.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've never had these truthful expectations before where I'm like, I could actually see us going to the Super Bowl. Before, I've just been lying to myself, so I'm not really sure what to think. I don't like it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I would much rather have people hating on the Browns, but because the last time this happened, we were gifted Freddie Kitchens, and I mean that was one of the worst years of my life in terms of my Browns fandomhood. So
that was pretty bad. I'm surprised that he didn't come up on our draft board.
He doesn't deserve to be mentioned on this show.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to do something like that in the future. That was pretty awesome. But let's go ahead and switch it up, Sam. You had some WNBA news for us. Do you have some WNBA to talk about?
Yeah, actually, I got a little NBA or WNBA draft preview. It's pretty short, but so we got the Dallas Wings, which I found interesting. I didn't know they were a team. They have the first, the second, the fifth and the seventh pick in the first round. So I mean, if you have that, I mean, you're picking your starting. I don't know if they're an expansion team or what. And then we got the WNBA draft is tonight, so that's the draft preview. Not sure what we'll see from it. I don't know who's going number one. I think I saw a power forward or a center from Texas, but
have you ever been to a WNBA game, Sam?
I've not. I don't think Ohio has a WNBA team.
But we used to. So when I was growing up, because we're a little, what's our age difference? 7, 8 years?
I'm 20. I'm almost 24.
24? Yeah. Okay, so about 6. Not that much. That's crazy that it's only 6 years, and yet you probably don't even know that Cleveland had a team called the Cleveland Rockers, and I've gone to multiple games. And it was actually a lot of fun, a ton of fun. So I'm kind of surprised that their attendance isn't higher than it is. Because I know it's low, but it's way lower than you would think, right? For professional athletes. You'd think a lot of women aspiring to be in the WNBA or just women athletes would go and support it and watch. Hopefully people watch this draft because this is going to be wild.
Yeah, and I don't know. I do like women's basketball. I think it's very exciting.
No doubt.
It's a different brand than you get with the NBA or NCAA just because of the sheer athleticism that some of those guys have. It can't be matched. But I watch more NCAA hoops than I do the WNBA. I rarely watch the WNBA, and I don't know why. I think maybe the NCAA has a little more hype around it, especially when, I like UConn. I've been rooting for them since the Maya Moore days. So
Diana Taurasi, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Those girls can hoop, so always fun to watch them.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Do you have any other WNBA news that we should know about?
No other WNBA news. Just the draft is tonight. That's the preview. And that's probably more of a preview than you'll get on half the shows that you might listen to. So.
Oh, well, we support the WNBA. You know why? Because we support women.
That's right. We're
clear.
a diverse group.
Clear as that. We got hit with kind of like just some weird news today. Driving in my car, I was actually going to McDonald's myself, Sam, to get a Coke. Not a Diet Coke, a Coke. I've switched from Diet Coke this past year to Coke. That's what COVID did to me. And while I was going there, I got an alert on my phone. Somebody broke the news to me. I believe it was Mitchell Balla. That said LaMarcus Aldridge is retiring. Oh, yeah. And the first thing I thought of was, man, is it really that rough and dysfunctional in Brooklyn that he's going to retire? Because most people from the outside looking in think slam dunk chance of the Nets winning this championship. What do you make of LaMarcus Aldridge retiring in the midst of only about 28 games left in the season?
So I wish I had it in front. There was like an irregular heartbeat that came up after he played. So it had to do something with his heart. So
okay.
He said, you never know when your life is going to end. So live it well is basically what he said. And he said, he's glad it happened this way. He was doing what he loved. And yeah, it stinks. I love LaMarcus Aldridge. He hasn't really been, I guess, that prevalent since he went to San Antonio.
Yeah.
And I was excited to see him in Brooklyn, but I'm glad he's looking out for his health at least.
Well, I'm glad that's the reason why. I mean, obviously, I haven't had a chance to look into that yet. I also had to follow somebody home after a run, like I was telling you earlier, so I wasn't able to get the full draft board up. Because some people, Sam, we got some hateful people out there just yelling some crazy things at people. It's wild. But
a lot of haters.
Yeah, a lot of haters. But yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge. I'm glad that you're telling me it's because of his health, and not because it's dysfunction. And I'm selfish in saying that because I really want to see the Nets play the Lakers so bad. So bad. And a lot of people have irregular heartbeats anyways, like with stuff like that when they go in for tests. So I'm sure he'll be all right. Hopefully his tests go because I like LaMarcus Aldridge too. I don't think he's a great player. He's a really, really, really good player, I think. But talk about somebody who's played for 15 years and you never heard anything about him off the court. Class act.
Yeah, very much so. He wrote a letter on Twitter, so if you're a LaMarcus Aldridge fan, check that out. Of course, I pull that up, and right underneath, people are hating in the comments. Not going to read it, is what somebody said. So I'm glad they took the time, read the post, and then posted right under that, I'm not going to read it. So that's the hater logic we're working with. I don't know what's wrong with people, but maybe just take a look in the mirror. I don't know.
Yeah, that's wild. I always love when players retire because I get to hear their thoughts and their reflection. We talked about Julian Edelman on Tuesday, and as an athlete, as somebody who trains like tirelessly, does crazy stuff to get in shape, like I understand the sacrifice of time and all the other things, and you understand that, Sam, and so does Mitch. And so when they come out and they say this, in so eloquently, basically address their entire career in a couple paragraphs, I love it. Because it's the one time where they get to really reflect and get it out there. I haven't read that yet, but I'm excited to read it now.
It's a short one, but that's why I love like the Players Tribune.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever a player it's just awesome getting in their heads and just really getting to know how their brain works. Because not only are they're outstanding athletes, but they're very, very smart. Like you don't get to that level without being very, very knowledgeable about your sport. The definition that we use for smart, it means like so many different things. But you should be smart in whatever you're doing with your geniuses in their sport. I read a Julius Randle article, and it was all about and just really becoming a better person. And I actually shared that with the kids in my classroom. I had them read that and credit assignment with that. So, athletes are way more than athletes. So you can get in their head. It's great to listen.
Yeah, and it's also, we got to remember that all these people that we're watching, that are entertaining us, they're all doing something that is perceived as great because there's only so many of them that can physically do this on the planet. And to accomplish great things typically you get a lot of people who are not average, like they don't think average, like they think differently, just because of their experiences. So it is cool to step back and see where somebody else is coming from, because your retirement speech, Sam, might be 100% completely different than mine. Every athlete's different, and that's the cool part about it.
Yeah, he's almost like like the off-brand Tim Duncan, if you will.
The off-brand Tim Duncan.
You know, you never.
The organic Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Never heard about him once.
So, saw something sad earlier today. What? Sam, say that again? You're breaking up?
No, go ahead.
Saw something earlier today. It made me a little sad. During 2020, we lost somebody. That one of those guys, one of those people was Kobe Bryant. He's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame soon because he's one of the best players who's ever lived. Did you see who is going to do his induction speech for him?
I did not.
Michael Jordan.
Really?
Yeah. So even after the crying emoji, he's going to come up. That's how much he loves Kobe. So that'll be a pretty
awesome.
Cool experience. Because how many players was Michael Jordan wasn't close to that many players, especially ones that were younger, right? So I thought that was pretty neat.
Right, because he doesn't have that relationship with LeBron.
No.
So it's cool to see how he has that with Kobe. I guess it's a little selfish, but like right when when Kobe passed away, I mean, obviously we were all heartbroken, but that was like one big thing that I was really, really sad about was, in terms of like one of the most well-spoken athletes of all time, like Kobe Bryant's induction speech would have been absolutely phenomenal. It still makes me sad. He's, that's a role model, and the world needs more of that. So it's sad to see when they die young.
No doubt. No, that was I remember I was in LA Fitness up the street, and they have basketball courts in there, and there was this one guy, and Kobe had just passed away hours before, and there was a guy in the gym with a Kobe jersey on, just sitting there crying, and I'm like, man, this guy doesn't know Kobe Bryant, and this guy is being affected by somebody else all the way 3,000 miles away. As sad as that is, how cool is that? Like, to see someone's impact like that. So I'm really excited to hear Michael Jordan do his best to recap Kobe's entire, 40 years of living. It's impossible to do, but it'll be cool to watch.
Yeah, and I think he's the right man for the job.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows what it's like to play at that high of level, to be that icon other than Michael Jordan. And they grew up around the same era, I guess I would say. I mean, Michael's probably a decade older, but
yeah,
that's definitely a day I'll never forget. I remember seeing it, and I'm like, no way. Like, of course it's from TMZ, so you're like, oh, thank goodness. Like, but man, it's just, what a crime.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is. Sticking with basketball, we're going to go on a happier note. We got some big games tonight on April 15th. We got Milwaukee at Atlanta at 7:30 tonight. The Atlanta Hawks are a for-real team. They're finally a for-real team. I will finally give them that. And I'll give them that because they've earned it. They've taken it. They play Milwaukee tonight. Who do you like in that game?
I think Milwaukee is still without Giannis right now. I know Milwaukee played last night, and I think they played the night before that. So just off of that, I would take the Hawks to cover. But they're still so young. And okay. Well, let's go. I think the Hawks will win this one as long as Giannis is out. If the spread is 4, I think that means Giannis is out. So, this is for all the Hawks fans. I got a lot of hate earlier in the season for supporting the Hawks, and the Hawks fan base was strong in the chat. So, you know what, Hawk fans, we're proving the world right. We're here to stay. So,
well, I was one of those guys, Sam. I was that guy trashing that because I just didn't. I mean, Trae Young, people kept telling me, "Oh, he's the next Steph Curry." I love when people take like the greatest thing ever, like one of the greatest things ever, and they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's the next LeBron James." Get the hell out of here. Okay, there's only a couple of these guys. So when people said this guy could be the next greatest shooter ever, which is a crazy statement to make, I just didn't think that he could evolve to be that good of a player. But he's playing so well, though. You know, he only plays 34 minutes a night. 34 minutes a night. It's not like he's playing 38, 40 minutes. He's playing 34 minutes. He's averaging 25.4 points, shooting like 87% for the free throw line, averaging almost 10 assists a night. Trae Young's serious. Like
he's a leader.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to beat the Bucks. The Bucks, I think they might be able to beat the Celtics, the Bucks, the Nets, or the Sixers, but they're pretty good. They're pretty good.
Yeah, they're young, and I hope they can keep. Well, honestly, I don't hope they can keep John Collins because I want the Cavs to sign John Collins. But yeah, and the thing with Trae Young is, he's got bad hair. And I don't know.
It's terrible.
It's just, and it's bias. But when I see somebody that has a defect like that, they have bad hair, I'm like, this guy's gonna suck in the NBA. Like, and it's just, I was a Trae Young hater when he was at Oklahoma, right?
Me too.
Just because he had that he had that bad hair, and he came to the NBA and he's just rocking out, doing him. So I'm a full Trae Young supporter, and they're fourth in the East, a couple games behind Milwaukee. So
the only teams that we listed, that I just listed above, I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but those three teams ahead are better teams. So I feel like they're where they should be in the East. Definitely where they should be. Yeah, but I get it. If you can't take care of your hair, how can you take care of your opponent? I get it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and then the thing with, all three teams above them, they either have one or more superstars, and I wouldn't say that the Hawks have a bona fide superstar.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they have an all-star, maybe two all-stars, but
Clint
those guys
Capella
have
is
superstars.
all-star, probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think John Collins has gone all-star, and Trae Young may have made an all-star game, but they're similar to the Jazz, where the Jazz, I guess Donovan Mitchell's now a superstar, but they have a bunch of all-stars. That's the 2006 Detroit Pistons vibe, where you have 5 all-stars and you're going to be very, very good. So I would love for a team, I guess I would call like a mid-major team, to win the NBA title, because we haven't had that in a while. I'm tired of seeing all the superstars take it away. Toronto kind of gave us that, but then not quite. Went to LA, and he's, whatever. But soon enough, we'll have it.
No doubt. And that's actually a really good comparison. I thought about that for a second. You said they are the Utah Jazz of the East. If any Utah Jazz fans heard you say that, they would lose their shit. And at first, at first, me hearing that, I thought the same thing. After I think about it for a second, that's a really, really, really good comparison, Sam. It's a good comparison.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty spot on. I mean, the Jazz are, I think, the better team, obviously, but when you're talking, NBA Eastern, with a comparison, it's got to be the Hawks. It's a very young team with a lot of potential.
I get that. Another young team with potential, but that might have to rebuild is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they play the Golden State Warriors tonight. And both of these teams realistically can still make the playoffs. The Cavs are only 3 games away from now winning a lot of people money. If anybody bet in Vegas that the Cavs would win more than 22.5 games, you're going to win a lot of money, because the Cavs are 18 games left. They're going to win 3 games, Sam. Do they get a win tonight against Golden State?
I don't know. Steph Curry, he was...
Line is 6.5, by the way.
He was... I would take the Warriors. He was 19 away from passing Wilt Chamberlain on Tuesday. I forget what day it was exactly. He drops 20 in the first quarter, goes on to drop 50. They just killed the Thunder last night. So I think the Warriors are kind of on maybe a little playoff push, if you will. But I'll tell you what, Darius Garland continues to vindicate me every single day when I'm saying get rid of Colin Sexton. I like Colin Sexton, don't get me wrong, but I like Darius Garland a whole lot better He's a better point guard. I think he's a better facilitator of the offense. When you have someone like Isaac Okoro, who, again, I'm pretty high on Isaac Okoro, but not as a small forward. When you look at this draft coming up, I think Colin Sexton might be a good one to ship out of those two, even though I do like Colin Sexton.
Yeah, I'm just every time I watch the Cavs, I have a different thought afterwards. It's like it doesn't matter how many games I've watched before the last game because it's almost like it changes every week and every day. I don't know if I want Colin Sexton around, if I want Darius Garland around. All I know is I want the Cavs to be good, and I'm willing to do whatever I got to do. So what do I have to do, Sam, to help the Cavs turn this around? Do I have to write a letter to Dan Gilbert? Do I have to say, get rid of Kobe Altman, bring me in? And let's start with bringing Vlade Divac as the head coach. Let's change this around. I don't know if the Cavs, I think we could be a 10, 20, 30 year window before they're anything again. It's just so hard being a small market basketball team. It's so tough.
Yeah, I mean, they're waiting on LeBron James, basically, is what I've been taught.
That's what you've been taught?
Fortunately, he does have a son named LeBron James Jr., so that would be great. I think I'd feel a little weird about it if the Cavs got the number 1 pick and then drafted LeBron James Jr. I feel like I would feel just way too old, and I don't really want that, but we'll see. Maybe get a tattoo. I got a little Cavs tattoo.
Ooh. Did you?
Keeping the faith. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got it 1 week after the Cavs won the title. I got it for $23. It all went to the LeBron James Foundation, or so I was told. I didn't really follow up on that, but
probably went to Tristan Thompson. That's how they paid Tristan Thompson. That was a fundraiser for Tristan Thompson.
It's true.
Another game tonight. Huge game. Boston, LA. Unfortunately, it's at 10 o'clock. I'm not watching this tonight. But Boston's going into LA, Sam, and the line on this game is, by the way, I accidentally clicked on tickets. Guys, you can pay row 1, $145 if you want to watch the Lakers play the Celtics tonight. But that's not what you're here for. You're here for the line. And the line for this game, Sam, is 6. -6 to Boston. Yeah.
Let's see. Looks like Kuzma's out.
Yep.
For sure. And then, of course,
Evan
both out.
Fournier is out as well, but he's garbage, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go with the Celtics here just because clearly the better team with LeBron or Anthony Davis and Kyle Kuzma aren't on the floor. So you'd think the Celtics, but they've been an absolute mess.
I don't know if they are.
I don't know if they're even – what are they, 5th or 6th seed right now?
Yeah.
5th in the East.
They are starting to play better.
I don't get the
a
Celtics.
Little better. But they've done it a lot this year, Sam, where they'll go on like a 4-game stretch that they look like a completely different team, and then they'll start playing like dog shit again and make me look dumb. Yeah, I like the Lakers. I actually think the Lakers the Lakers will definitely cover, but I like the Lakers for the win. They beat Charlotte the other night. Now, granted, Charlotte didn't have Gordon Hayward or Terry Scary, and obviously they don't have LaMelo Ball, so it's not a great win. But they're starting to play well together, and maybe this is LeBron's plan, Sam. Maybe he wants all of these guys getting some playing time, getting some confidence. I think it's great. He's done this before in a similar look with the Cavs. Not quite like this, but ish. So we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, I mean, they beat the Nets the other day too. So, we've said it 1,000 times, but it doesn't matter what seed the Lakers are going to get as long as they're in.
Yeah.
They're fine. So.
Yeah, and it looks like. Go ahead, Sam.
So it would be kind of cool to see like the Lakers as a 7 seed. It would be a little wild. It would feel unfair though.
Yeah, no, I feel that. We have a question coming in. We haven't answered any questions yet. What do you guys think of load management? It was a big topic on ESPN today. Sam, what do you think of load management? Thanks, Drew.
I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah.
Now I can see where, like you bought these tickets 2 months in advance. You love LeBron James or you love, Kawhi Leonard, big birthday present. And then, you're a Cavs fan like me. And when Kawhi Leonard comes to play the Cavs, well, it's not worth him playing. And so I can see that side of it. But I mean, I'm your body, you're right. So if you're trying to save yourself and, I guess
my body, my choice.
I don't know if I really get it. Yeah, I don't know because I don't really think they need load management at the age of 24, 25, 26. But I can see, when you're 30 plus, why you need load management.
Yeah, I feel the same way you do. Honestly, I don't even know if I need to add anything onto that. As an older player, I'm definitely going to focus more on recovery because it's all about longevity. These guys aren't just trying to play basketball. They also want to play with their kids when they're 50 and 40. Like,
Right.
It's not just about right now. Like, I know, like, as fans, like, that's what we like to think of. But it's never bothered me that when I've showed up to a game and someone hasn't played, it's never bothered me. Because if you're there for a player, then why are you even there? Just hang out on their social media pages. Like, it's a basketball team. There's so many elements, thousands of people that work for that company, not just one. So that hasn't bothered me, but it does bother me when younger players take shots at the older players for load management. Because it doesn't make any sense. Like, these guys have played thousands of games more than you, thousands. It's miles on a car. You're not going to drive a Honda CRV with 220,000 miles on it like you would drive it with 10,000 miles on it, right? You would drive it with a little more caution. You wouldn't just gun it at every green light. You might ease into it, right? So it's never bothered me, but it's only bothered me when people complain because I hate when people complain. There's nothing worse than when someone opens their mouth to complain. So
Yeah, and half the time it's it's just 40-year-olds sitting at home on their couch saying, "Why do they need load management? Why do they need load management?"
exactly.
What are you? You don't need load management for your office job. You sit on your butt all day, and still we're exhausted and complain like these guys are pro athletes working their dicks off every single day. Like, who cares if they take one day? I don't know if you've seen it. It's one of my favorite gifs on Twitter, but it's old man yells at the cloud. And I just love tweeting that at people now. Whenever I see them complaining about anything, it's just old man yells at the cloud. And that's what everyone's doing nowadays is just we're looking up at the sky and screaming and hoping that somebody cares. Nobody cares. I mean, it's time to stop complaining and just let guys do whatever, and women.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I do complain, but I just don't complain around anybody else, right? And I actually will yell in the sky or yell in the car by myself or yell in my room. I talk to myself quite often. So I do that, and I manage not to complain. So I have to see that GIF. I have never seen it before. You're going to have to send it to me.
Great, yeah, I'll have to find it. It's just great, because our internet it's the cloud. So that's where people love getting their yelling off now is on the cloud.
Yeah.
I'm one of them too. So, I mean, I've got a burner account, so.
Well, Sam, do you have any other topics on your mind that we want to touch before we get to our last segment of the show? Anything that we haven't addressed? Because we haven't really gone over any news yet.
Yeah, I do have one. I'm going to save my other for a big balls candidate because I think he's actually deserving of it.
Ooh, okay.
But I don't know. I think this was either a day or two ago. But archaeologists found a lost golden city in Egypt, about 3,400-year-old city. It got covered up by years and years of sandstorms, and it's got buried under the sand. Yeah. So a city from 3,400 years ago, still pretty good intact. So that's just cool for history. I think they'll find a lot of cool things out of that lost city. Hopefully nothing, a little too creepy. I don't know. Egypt's always like one of those very like mysterious and mystical. When you think of like Rome, like Greece, like Egypt, that's what you think of whenever you think of ancient civilizations. So who knows what they'll find? But that's just cool news in general.
That is really cool news. How is that even possible to find something like that? Find an entire city. How can a city be lost?
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, what else is under, what's under our feet, what's been buried before. So, you
Exactly.
know, that's the beauty of life is we'll never know. And, you know, I guess keep digging.
Keep digging. Shia
Just
LaBeouf.
keep digging.
Keep
Just keep
digging.
digging.
Shia LaBeouf. Sam, you ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
Who has bigger balls?
Sam, who has bigger balls? You bring a candidate with you today? You bring a friend to class today?
I did. I brought so he's going to be a candidate for good reason. We don't have that very often on the show, but this man definitely has some big kahunas. So this is a man, a Florida man. So whenever you hear that, you're like, great. But
I'm
Carl
excited.
Schuck, Jacksonville, Florida, Vietnam vet, cancer survivor, and a COVID-19 survivor, has now donated more than 100 gallons of blood lifetime. 100 gallons. To put that in perspective, that's 2.5 times as big as a bathtub, 6.5 times as big as a beer keg, or 650 times bigger than a venti cup from Starbucks. So, shout out to you, Carl Schuck. You're donating more blood than people can imagine. I can't even imagine the human body producing 100 gallons of blood, but Carl Schuck has donated that.
That is not what I expected at all. Anytime I hear Florida man, something's on fire,
Right.
horses are being released into rural area. This is, man, I don't even want to
Especially
give
in
you.
Jacksonville.
I don't even want to give you my candidate because my candidate is going to just make me mad. And this came an hour ago. So one of the reasons why I was late and getting up the draft board and everything, I was running. Here was a guy who decided over 2 lanes of traffic to have his leash and his dog all the way across, his kid in the middle, and his best friend on the other side. By the way, these are all adults. They started making fun of me, started yelling homophobic remarks at me. So, hopped in my car when I got home, and I know where this asshole lives. And so will other people here soon. So, because I had to go get a report. So that's my bigger balls candidate is that guy. So,
Nice.
yeah, he's going to have a really fun Wednesday night here in a minute. So,
Yeah. I mean, you just gotta love people who love to hate. That's how they spend their days, and maybe if they keep on hating, they'll find happiness one day.
Maybe.
So I wonder how that will go for them. Yeah.
still had a hell of a day. I mean, I've had a great day. My day will continue to be great, Sam. I can't believe in this climate, like, that's what you would yell at somebody after they said, just how about you just be respectful to stay on one side. It is what it is. Honestly, we don't even have to vote on this. Your candidate wins because I love great people. I just love them. I love people who look out for other people. What's this guy's name?
Carl Schuck.
Carl Schuck. You're a hell of a man, sir. You're a hell of a man.
He says, "Shuck the blood right out of me," is what he says.
How old is this guy? Before we go.
Oh, I mean, he's a Vietnam vet. Cancer. I mean, I guess we'll go like 70s.
Jeez.
I didn't look too much. He didn't have much to say. Very few quotes. His name was in there one time, so he obviously didn't really want the recognition. But shout out to you, Carl Schuck. You got some big balls.
He definitely has some big balls and some big good balls instead of big bad balls. We're always dealing with the bad balls, and it's nice to deal with a good ball for a change, Sam.
You need some better balls out there.
No,
The world's getting stinky.
it is getting stinky. With that being said, Sam, man, this was fun. We didn't have Mitch today, but I had a great time with you, Sam. We covered a lot of balls. You have any farewell words for our listeners? Everybody on the ball pit?
Make sure to tell somebody you love them.
I love it. I love it. We need more love in this world. Tell somebody you love them. We'll be back next Tuesday in April. We'll be back in next week. We'll have all 3 of us on our Thursday. I'm Jordan McKelly. That's Sam Summers. This is Cover Your
See you,
Balls. Subscribe and like. We love you guys.
Peace.